spilled. Good morning. I am John Beckman, Professor John Beckman, Dr. John Beckman, U.S. Senate GOP primary candidate in the state of Alabama. Vote for me March 3rd. Today we're going to talk about the funny shit you missed in the Democratic debate last night. But first, everybody get some coffee in a cup. Get something that you like that smells good. Let's do a citation to the simultaneous libation of Scott Adams. Cheers. All right. Let's talk about that debate. So the first thing that was really weird was why did CNN... So CNN had a choice, right? CNN had a choice to split these two debates, and they had a choice of who to put where during which debate. And they put all the white people on the first stage, and then they put all the diversity on the second night. And I'm just wondering, why they did that. I think that the main reason they did that is they want somebody in the second debate to win. So it makes everybody in that first debate look bad because they're not amongst diversity. So somebody in the second debate is a pick that CNN wants to win. That's the first point. The second point is this: everybody in the second debate has a massive advantage because they are answering questions that were already asked the previous night. So everybody in the second debate already knows the questions that are going to be asked to them. So CNN definitely has a pick of who they want to win, and they gave this advantage to somebody in that second night. Okay, my first impressions was that Kamala, her name is so hard to pronounce, Kamala Harris and Tulsi Gabbard were the only ones that I was like, okay, these people look visually like they have strength. That was kind of the only ones that they always say look presidential. The only ones that to me actually looked presidential were Kamala Harris and Tulsi Gabbard. But that's just a surface level, just visual impression. And I'm Republican, so I don't like any of these people. But those are the ones who I had the impression of strength. The Castro guy. My impression of him was he looked like a ventriloquist doll. His hair is perfectly parted like one of those plastic dolls that goes like this. So he looks like a ventriloquist doll. That was my only impression of him. My impression of Kamala Harris, every time she talks and I have no idea what the summary of her statement is. She talks for 30 seconds and then she ends, and I think at the end I have no idea what she just said. Booker's got crazy eyes. The only good comment he had... Sorry, I'm just laughing at that. He got crazy eyes. The only good comment he had was that made me laugh out loud is he said, Andrew Yang made a comment how his parents had come here and they had immigrated here, but they had PhDs in computer science or something and had gotten patents. And Booker made some comment about how when Yang said that, everybody said, yes, that's what we want. We want people with PhDs to immigrate here, which is true, which is what we want. Which is what everybody wants. But then Booker made a comment, and Booker was, I don't even know what CCCP means. What is that? What's CCCP? But Booker made the comment, no, we don't want people with PhDs because that's what Trump wants. Trump wants to pit immigrants against immigrants. And he wants to have immigrants compete against each other. So we don't want people with PhDs is what Booker said. And I thought, when he said that, first I was like, yes, it's exactly what we want to do. It's exactly what Republicans want to do. We want to pit immigrants against each other so that they have to compete so that America takes the best immigrants. We want the people that America needs. Okay? Tulsi. Okay, so my impressions of Tulsi, her in white, wow, she really stood out. She looked presidential. She was the only one that I was drawn to. So if you hear me saying that, that means if you're a Democrat, that means you should probably not listen to my opinion, because I'm obviously going to be drawn to the person who's most like Republican. Tulsi, she seemed to me almost like a Republican. I do think she's probably in the wrong party. So I think her chances of winning are very, very, very low, just because of the fact that I'm drawn to her. But it also suggests to me that Tulsi's strategy is to go for Trump voters, and you can see this in what some of the things she said. So one of the things that she said in her opening statement, she said she was talking about patriotism. She was talking about how she's a patriot, and she said Trump is not behaving like a patriot. So the key word there is not behaving. She didn't say Trump is not a patriot. She said Trump is not behaving. So she wants to attack Trump, but then she kind of reduces it because she doesn't want to offend people who actually voted for Trump. And I sensed that, and I got that. So that's part of the reason why I felt like a draw to her. But I don't think she has any chance of winning because I don't think her party would ever nominate her. I think her party's way too crazy. Gillibrand. Gillibrand had the Clorox bleach comment. So she said her comment, her big comment of the night was, the first thing I'm going to do if I become president is I'm going to Clorox bleach the Oval Office. And the first thing that I thought of when she said that was Bill Clinton. I did not think of Trump in it at all. The first thing that she said the first thing I thought of when she said that was Bill Clinton. Whose semen are you going to be cleaning up? It's going to be Bill Clinton's. So I think her attack was off, at least for me in my mind. I didn't think of Trump at all. It made me think of Bill Clinton. She also had the most crazy comment. She said, I'm going to win. I'm going to beat Trump because I can go to suburban moms and I can talk to them and teach them and tell them about how their kids are white and how their kids have white privilege. And I was thinking, all the suburban moms that I know, I don't think any of those people would be receptive to that message. To me, she said she's going to win because that was literally her argument is, I'm going to win because I can go to suburban moms and I can teach them about how their kids have white privilege. I do not think that's a winning argument. I do not think she has even a prayer. Yang. So my first impression of Yang, and I tweeted this last night, was that this guy is smart. But the more that I think about some of the things that he's saying and some of the words that he's actually saying, I don't think he's as smart as people perceive him to be. One of the things that's a characteristic of this is he uses the same joke. So Yang, his joke is, you should vote for me because I'm the opposite of Donald Trump. I'm a smart Asian who likes math. And I was thinking okay, I've heard that joke before. And I do not like people who use the same joke over and over and over. And we live in an age where you can't do that because the joke is on film. And if you do well with the joke, it'll go viral and then everybody will see the joke and you can't use it again. So that tells me he's not as smart as people think he is because he can't write a new joke and he uses the same joke. Also, every single answer to every single question with Yang was, I'm going to pay you $1,000. I'm going to pay you $1,000. How are you going to help? How are you going to help split the feminine divide of the women versus men income gap? Oh, I'm going to pay them $1,000. Well, he also wants to pay men $1,000, so that actually wouldn't do anything to separate the gap in pay. But that's his answer to everything is, well, I'm just going to pay you $1,000. He's literally telling everybody, if you vote for me, I'll pay you $1,000. It's almost like the Jeb Bush strategy where he just pays in money hoping to get votes. And Jeb Bush spent $150 million to get 3 votes in the primary. So I don't think he's as smart. He also literally had a comment about climate change. He said people need to run to high ground. He literally said run to the hills. He literally said people on the coast need to run to high ground. The first thing that I thought was, I don't give a shit if these people on the coast, the people on the coast are the richest people on the planet. Okay, the people who live on the California coast and the New England coast are the richest people on the planet. And he's telling them we should fear for climate change because then the richest people on the planet, they need to run to the hills. And it's those people already have houses in the mountains anyway. I don't care if they have to leave and run. Stupid hat. What are you talking about? This guy's getting blocked. Okay. Biden, my first impression of Biden was that guy's scalp is gross. Like if you look at, okay, so go back into the debates and actually look for this. So look at Biden's face. The bottom of his face looks really, really young because it's like it's covered in makeup and it looks actually young. At first I looked at it and I was like, is that CGI? Like, are they actually like CGIing Biden's lower face? And then you contrast his lower face with the top head. And I'm somebody who shaves my head, but if you look at Biden's head, his head is like, it's nasty as scalp. And I always disrespect people who have the comb over. Biden combs all his hair back. And I disrespect those people because it's like, dude, have some dignity, shave your head. Like, you're going bald. You can't hide your nasty scalp. Just fucking shave your head. It looks nasty. That was my first impression of Biden. But I will say this about Biden. When he talks, I at least understand what he's saying. So like when he says something, I know what he says. I know what he means. So I understand him. So in that sense, he's actually a much better debater than everybody else on that stage because when Biden says something, I know cognitively what he said. He also has so one of the things that was interesting to me is the first night, Warren had a comment about how all corporations are literally evil. She said, all corporations are evil. All corporations don't give a shit about patriotism. If they can make 1 cent, they will leave the country. I do not think that that's true. I mean, I don't think Apple just thinks about screwing over America. But that's what Warren said. And then the interesting thing is that in this debate, one of Biden's arguments was people in Michigan should vote for me because I gave Detroit, the motor companies there, corporate bailouts. So this is interesting that you're seeing this conflicting message within the Democratic Party. You're seeing Biden who advocates for corporate bailouts in Michigan, and then you're seeing Warren who says all corporations are evil. So I have no idea what the actual Democrats in Michigan actually think. Do the actual Democrats in Michigan like Warren's message, which tells them that their company that they work for hates them? Or do they like Biden's message, where Biden is saying, well, I kept your job because I gave you a corporate bailout? I don't like either of those messages, but it's interesting that that's one place where you're seeing this crowd kind of diverge. Let's talk about just some of the comments that they wanted, just quick here to end. So one of the themes was they want all profits out of healthcare. So let me just give you a scenario of what happens if you remove all profit from healthcare. Let me tell you what happens. Imagine you are a kid who's thinking about going to medical school. Let's say you are the smartest person in your class and you're thinking about becoming a doctor. Would you ever spend the money that it takes to go to medical school and spend the time that it takes to educate yourself for 12 years if you knew that being a doctor would not make you any money? Would you make that commitment? No, you wouldn't. So if there's no profit in healthcare, the only thing that you're going to see is you're going to see the quality of healthcare drastically reduced, because the only people then that would become doctors are basically dumb people because the smart people are going to go where they can make money. So if you can't make money in healthcare, the quality of the healthcare will go down. And these people all want to remove all profit incentive in the healthcare system. Let me also talk about medicine and new cures and new treatments. So if you are a pharmaceutical company and you're thinking of developing a new drug, okay, people don't understand that this costs millions and millions and millions of dollars to develop a new drug. The only way that your company can make that investment is if you can make a profit on the other end. Otherwise, you will never, ever make that investment as a company. And these people all want to remove all profits from the pharmaceutical industry. And I know that this sounds nice. I know that your brain tells you that that seems to sound nice. But I'm telling you that if you do that, no company in its right mind will ever make a new cure, because there's no financial profit that would ever come out of it. So you will not get new cures if you remove the profit from the pharmaceutical industries, which is what they want. They also all advocated for decriminalizing the border. Hey, how's it going? They wanted to legalize anybody in the entire world who just wants to just walk across the border. No country, I already did 4 videos on this. No country in the world allows people to just walk across the border. Nobody does that in the world. And yet every person on that stage, except Joe Biden, was advocating for decriminalizing the border. Okay? That is insane. Watch my other videos about ordered borders, and they will teach you why this is an insane idea. Okay? I'll finish here. They also wanted no coal, no fracking, which to me is fine if they argue for that, because now they've lost Pennsylvania and they've lost West Virginia. Okay? Those are big coal, fracking. Fracking is big in the Midwest, okay? These people have now completely lost those states because the entire business industry that economically runs those states is coal fracking, okay? So they've just lost those states. So I'll end there. I'll end with a shocking thing. So again, you shouldn't trust my opinion about who I think won. I'm just telling you like what my interpretation was. But my interpretation is going to be opposite of what the Democrats actually think. And just to show you this, I started looking at this guy, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. His name is Cenk Uygur. He runs the New Turks. He's a big Twitter voice for the way left. And I looked at his tweets to see who he thought won. And he thought Governor Inslee, who's the governor of Washington, won. He was the person who I hated the most. So like, I hope to God that the people who the Democrats want to win actually win. I hope that the only people who I was afraid of was Tulsi. Tulsi would have a shot to beat Trump if she won. She was the only person who could actually beat Trump. So I hope she doesn't win. I hope the person who the left wants, Warren, Sanders, Governor Inslee, I hope that the people who they think won actually win the primary, because they will be destroyed by Donald Trump. Okay, I gotta go to work. End.